What's up, guys? It's Zack from Nerd Park. Today I want to talk about In the Heart of the Sea, the latest Warner Brothers movie. Now, this movie's not doing too well at the box office, and it had some pretty bad reviews following its release as well. I don't quite agree with those reviews, and these are the reasons why. For one, the cast is absolutely fantastic. You have Chris Hemsworth, Benjamin Walker, Cillian Murphy, Ben Whishaw, Tom Holland, and Brendan Gleeson, all playing a very interesting cast of characters. You have Chris and Ben are playing, respectively, Owen Chase, First Mate Owen Chase, and then Captain George Pollock, who were the men in charge of the whaling ship Essex, which ran into some whale trouble, you could say, because this movie is the true story that inspired the book Moby Dick, which was written by Herman Melville, who was played by Ben Whishaw in this movie. Ben Whishaw, Herman Melville, I should say, interviews Tom Nickerson, played by Brendan Gleeson, to learn the true events behind this this urban legend, you could have called it, back then. He heard about what happened to the boat, and he wanted to get the nitty-gritty details from the last surviving member. Now, Tom Nickerson is a very young man aboard the whaling ship Essex, and is played by Tom Holland, who I was very excited to see. Tom Holland does a fantastic job in this movie and gave me hope for the new Marvel Spider-Man movie. Tom Holland has fantastic leading man potential, or leading boy potential, I guess I should say. And next to Chris Hemsworth, those two together were very inspiring. Cillian Murphy plays second mate to Chris Hemsworth first mate, and I didn't see Cillian Murphy in any of the previews, so I was very excited to see him in this movie. All around, the cast does a great job. I would have liked to see a little bit more of Charlotte Riley as Owen Chase's wife Peggy, but you know, there was already a lot of actors in this, and you can't fit everyone into a big role, as evidenced by multiple movies. We're looking at you, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, story-wise, this is a true, well, inspired by true events, I should say, and we get two plot threads going throughout the course of the movie. You have Herman Melville interviewing Tom Nickerson, and then you have the story of Owen Chase and Captain George Pollock. Both stories are both very interesting. They managed to make them both important. However, the one that demands the most screen time is definitely the flashbacks, I guess we'll call them, the extended storytelling of the whaling ship Essex with Owen Chase and Captain Pollock. There are some bumps along the road when it comes to the storytelling, sometimes where you think, well, is this really important? Do we really need to know this? The story drags on just a little bit, but it's still riveting the whole time through, especially once our big ol' whale shows up and we see the fight go on between the will of the whale and the will of Owen Chase. Visually, this movie was spectacular. Director Ron Howard is at it again with some truly original and creative filmmaking processes that make this movie feel both like a fresh off the block action movie, and at the same time a classic old-timey period piece. The 1800s were well and alive in this. In terms of the setting, he did some great camera tricks using these big wide shots of the city and then zooming in, doing these intense close-ups on things that were happening in the city to really put you right into the period. Now, some of these close-ups are a little bit hard to watch. This movie surprisingly is rated PG-13 when I thought for sure it was going to be rated R, just because there were some gruesome scenes and a lot of blood and violence, and I thought it was enough to push it into the R rating. Now, there isn't any vulgarity, there's no sexuality or nudity, there are some scary scenes, but for the most part, it was just violence, and it's not really a family movie. I guess it could be considered educational. They do push a lot of the what happens when man tries to tame Mother Nature and Mother Nature fights back. There's a little, we'll call it a little crude joke at the end about oil. Get it? Because it's crude crude oil. And it feels a little bit preachy in some places, but in the end, it might be deserved as well to be there because it's a movie that's trying to make a point on top of telling a great story. But so visually, it's a fantastic movie. The acting is superb. The stories, both of them, are very well told. So what exactly was wrong with this movie? Well, maybe the story lagged a little bit in some places, and maybe it was a bit overly violent in the wrong places when it could have been more violent and realistic in some places. But overall, I don't really understand what this movie did wrong and why it's garnered such poor reviews and a poor showing at the box office. Time will tell. It could be that things will pick up. I don't think so. It released the week right before Star Wars, which we have coming up. So pretty soon everything that's at the box office right now is going to be overshadowed by that forever. So we'll see what happens. I will give this movie 8 oars out of 10, or 8 whaling pikes out of 10, if we're going to use random objects from the movie to rate the movie. If you want to see a review using batarangs, you can check out Aaron's review of The Dark Knight 3: The Master Race. That was posted on our Facebook page and YouTube account last week. But stay tuned. This Wednesday, we're going to be doing our Star Wars Memories podcast in anticipation of the Star Wars The Force Awakens opening on Friday. You can also check me and Alicia out tomorrow for our Tuesdays at the Mystery Spot podcast, where we go through episode by episode of Supernatural, the hit TV show Supernatural. We really enjoy watching that show, and if you do too, you should check out our podcast. Thank you for listening, and you can find Nerd Park at all of the places in the links below. Remember to stay nerdy, and may the Force be with you.